BMW's X4 is an all-new model for 2015, but don't call this high-riding, all-wheel drive four-door with a liftgate an SUV. BMW calls it a sports activity coupe. Now, it's the same name it gives its larger BMW X6 sibling, and that's because it's an SUV, but with coupe-like styling. It has a very aggressive sloping roofline, and while that does cut into cargo and passenger space, is the X4 all style and no substance. The X4 has two available engines, a turbocharged 4-cylinder making 240 horsepower and a turbocharged 6-cylinder making 300 horsepower. We're testing the 300 horsepower model here in the M Sport trim level. This is the sportiest configuration X4 that you can buy. But it comes from roots in the 3 Series, and in the 3 Series, that turbocharged 4-cylinder is so great. So before you just go out and buy the most powerful one, I highly recommend driving the 4-cylinder. What's included in the M Sport package are a number of aesthetic and mechanical changes. Those include an aerodynamic kit, 19-inch wheels, and a sport suspension, among other interior pieces as well. But on the outside, you see the M Sport in the very aggressive front, side, and rear styling. Overall, it looks like a mini BMW X6M. And that's a good thing. It's a very good, very aggressive looking SUV. The M Sport's aerodynamic kit works perfectly with the X4's shape. The way that the X4's roof peaks over the front compartment and aggressively slopes rearward, it reminds me of the Nissan 370Z Coupe. The X4 M Sport rides as aggressively as it looks. It has a very aggressive sport suspension standard, and it's a little too stiff for my taste. The car always seems like it's in motion up and down. It's very bouncy on rough roads. It wears on you after a long commute. And it also doesn't have any adjustability settings for the firmness. That's an optional suspension. The suspension is certainly rewarding in the fun to drive factor, as BMW's signature tight chassis and steering tuning are prominently displayed in the X4 M Sport, just like they are in the cars that the X4 is based on, including the 3 Series and X3. The X4's interior is very similarly styled to the 3 Series as well as the X3, and it's just as nice on the inside. But where the big difference comes is the back seat, where that aggressive sloping rear roofline cuts down on headroom compared to the X3, and plus you're going to have to remind passengers every time they get in not to knock their head on the roof here, because that will happen. Now, the back seat itself is fairly comfortable, but it's tight. You can tell there's a little bit less room than the X3, and plus these seats, they don't slide or recline. One of the X4 shortcomings is its smaller cargo area compared to the X3. Now, it's not totally unusable. There's still a good amount of space, but you lose some height for taller objects. But what you do get in the X4 is a very nifty cargo management system, rail-based, and you also have a standard power liftgate. But on top of that power liftgate, there's a missing feature. There's no rear wiper. And we noticed that was a problem while driving in the snow, where snow would build up on the back. SUV will have that. A coupe won't. And speaking of driving in snow, the X4 sits 1.5 inches lower than the X3. When I was driving in moderately packed hard snow, I was always afraid I was going to rip off that very attractive front styling. The X4 definitely leans more towards form than function. At $55,000, this car is definitely less usable than a BMW X3. But for those looking for something a little sportier than an X3, BMW at least gives you the option of a sport utility vehicle, like, well, sports activity vehicle. No, sports activity coupe like the X4.